All right, guys. So welcome to the information session where I'm going to be sharing a little bit about all of the different programs that we run here at the D School. This is going to be mostly student programs that you're going to hear about. Actually, all of them are student programs. And then from all of the student programs, everything is heavily subsidized by the Hase-Plattner Foundation to try and make this one of the most accessible, but also one of the most exciting learning programs that you can also do. Most programs are free, and you'll hear a little bit more about that in a bit. But for now, I would like to just tell you a little bit about the 4 different program types that we run through here at the D School. So the first program that I'm going to be telling you about, and we're going to go quite a bit in depth about, is going to be the foundation program in design thinking. That is our most in-depth design thinking learning experience, which runs across 9 to 10 weeks. And it runs on each semester, where we want students who are either at the end of their studies, like finishing their undergrad, or starting their postgrad. And we really just want students who can leverage on a lot of their learnings from their own academics, and also see where they can apply them creatively with our design thinking process as well. So that's ideal for students who have a little bit of time, because we actually ask a fair amount from our students in terms of the time commitment. And yeah, but we also just find that to be one of our more in-depth learning programs as well. So 10 weeks is a lot to dive in, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the structure of that. The second program type that we have is our design thinking week, which usually runs in the last week of November, just to make sure that you guys are done with your exams and to make sure that you guys are fully available to get into this full 4-day learning program. I'm going to show you some stuff about that and what that looked like last year as well. But that's what the design thinking week is like. 4 days around November. The third is the design thinking in Africa, which runs between the 2 semesters, usually June, end of June, start of July. And that program is a collaboration between 5 universities across the continent, where you work on a challenge which is usually tied to a UN agency and like a big topical issue at the time. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that as well. But the time commitment with that one is about 2 weeks, where you go on 3 different program days. And then in total, just about 6 days of learning, very student driven. And we will really want to see you guys taking ownership of the tools and guiding the whole learning process yourselves, but also going to be facilitated by coaches as well. And then the final program type is the design thinking dash, which is a very quick deep dive into design thinking. Quick is the key word over here. It's about a 3-hour program. And that is one dash actually happening tomorrow here at the D School. But this 3-hour program is just like a very quick glance at all of the design thinking tools, and you get to experience it in a very exciting and interactive workshop style. So that's what the design thinking dash is going to be like. But I'm going to start us off just by speaking about the the foundation program in design thinking. So key information about the foundation program is that it's a 9 to 10 week program. And again, this is focused on postgraduate students or students in their final year of their studies. What we really try to cover is an introduction to design thinking, a deep dive of mindsets. We work on real challenges with a real world project partner. And we also get to try and push our creative confidence quite a bit, where we can try to tap into our creativity to solve new problems. So I'm going to show you guys a quick video of what the foundation program actually looks like, and then I'm going to get you a little bit into the program structure itself. The foundation program is a 3-month program where we teach all of the basics of design thinking in a project partner challenge.
The partnership comes out of the work we were initially doing a couple months ago on something called Innovation for Impact. Conversation that my manager was having a couple months ago with Richard Perez, the head of the D School in Cape Town, about the potential for design thinking within the public services sector.
So design thinking was an opportunity to kind of refine that process, to see how I can learn how to do it a bit more creatively and in a space with people that I can get to know and a challenge that I can really take on.
Both House exists here and invites those social change actors to find a home here. to find co-work space here, find community here, and to find the resources to bring the programming that they need to do. Globally, social change work has been rising quite a bit over the decades. In trying to address it, we start to think of ways that start to change the system that are causing the challenge.
Today, we're at the Wellington Library to engage more in the observation phase. We want to see what kind of programs they get involved with, the outreach they do, how they actually find out this information of what the community needs. There's a big drive and need to actually help out in the community.
Today is graduation day.
We're presenting to our project partners after like a long journey.
The journey thus far has been amazing.
I learned a lot from the students.
They get to out their ideas, creative problem solving in ways that they don't necessarily do.
They're very vibrant and open for ideas.
We had to do away with a lot of the assumptions that we had because this is not just a theoretical problem.
I've really learned how to embrace ambiguity, how to be okay with failing fast so that we can, get back up and really run towards an even better and more creative solution.
It doesn't feel like it's been 12 weeks.
It's bittersweet.
Today is mixed feelings. In as much as I'm over the moon, this is the end.
It was such a beautiful experience for me.
It's always the journey that matters the most, even than the end goal itself.
Okay. So there was a lot to see in that video. And I think one thing I want you guys to have a look at right now is just on this image on the right. It's kind of an idea of like the ways of working that we have here at the D School. Everything is going to be very team-based, and you actually, you work in teams and you try to work on a real-world challenge as well. So I'm going to talk to you just about the teams and the setup, because here is what a typical D School learning environment looks like. You've got whiteboards that you work on, you use Post-its, and there's a lot of like images and stuff, and you're trying to like tap into a lot of different mediums to actually express your thoughts and ideas. You're also going to work with the team very consistently, getting to know each other, getting to understand different worldviews, and also getting to see how that team can also unlock a little bit of your creative confidence as you guys begin to work together and understand more about each other. So I guess some of the learning outcomes for the actual program itself, we want people to be able to demonstrate the design thinking mindsets, also to tap into their creative confidence and solve real world problems. The video that you guys got to see was around students working on a challenge with public libraries where they just wanted to reimagine the public library. So each semester, we're always going to have a new project partner, and that project partner will always like frame the challenge that you guys would be working on. Last semester, I think we did one with a hydrogen company, or a company that was trying to convert solar energy into hydrogen and electricity. And then, they wanted to find out use cases for that in agriculture. So you'll get a very wide range of challenges, and you guys will get to see a little bit more about that when you actually get onto the program, because each program will have a specific challenge as well. Third thing that I wanted to highlight was just like getting to go into wicked problem ecosystems and actually understanding like big stakeholder challenges and like big challenges, such as I guess like the reimagining of the library. And then also you guys will come out of there being able to work very well in teams, create presentations and artifacts, and communicate all of your ideas creatively in very different formats, very exciting different formats as well. So the program structure for the foundation program is that the first activity is going to be a compulsory workshop, which is a participant selection workshop, where participants will be introduced to a full day of design thinking in a fast forward. And then the coaches will be selecting participants based on their performance and engagements at the D camps. The first of the D camps, which is going to be running for the foundation program, will be happening next week, Tuesday, on the 20th of February. And that's going to be a full day from 9 until 3. So that full day workshop is just a chance for us to see whether if you fit into the kind of program that we're running, and to see if you're going to be able to, just even for you to see like, hey, is this design thinking thing for me? And you also get a chance to just like immerse yourself into the process as well. The D camps are completely free, and we encourage you guys to join us for that. But please just make sure that you apply by tomorrow. I want to say is the deadline for the foundation program anyways. And following the D camps, you will get to experience a 3-day immersion where we go into the design thinking mindsets. And then the third day wraps up with an activity where we kind of let you guys go loose and just like try out the mindsets yourself. And also, just get a chance to like really see what you guys are picking up at that point. And this will follow with a program partner challenge for the next 9-ish weeks. And yeah, so the program structure, I guess, like with the days, is that we expect participants to be available on Tuesdays and Thursdays for 6 hours. Each day will be from 9 until 3, every Tuesday and Thursday for the 9 weeks. The first week and the final week are the only outliers, where you have a 3-day week where it's Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then again on the final week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. But each of the days, 6 hours, and that's going to be the time commitment. So we ask that you're available for all 6 of those hours, because it's happening in our studio at the D School, and you're going to be working with your teams. If your teams, if you're absent, your team will feel your absence, and you actually need to be caught up every time. So we ask that you actually just join the program if you do have the time on your side of things. There's always going to be a time where we understand that, like, maybe there's a test or something that might clash, and then we'll also try to give allowance for that. But typically we ask that students attend 90% of the sessions. And yeah, I think that's where I'm going to pause with that. But this is a little bit of an overview of what the program would typically look like. So as I noted before, the D camps themselves, it's only going to be, I think these dates need to be updated, but the D camps themselves is going to be on the 20th of Feb. That's going to be the first D camp. And then the second, I think, would be the 22nd. We'll just confirm if that one is still happening. You should receive comms via email if you've applied. And then the mindset week in the first week. And then following that, we'll get to actually work on the design challenge throughout the next few weeks. So again, please keep an eye out on the week structure being Tuesdays and Thursdays for each week. And this is kind of what it looks like. You can see that this is a very rich, in-depth amounts of activities for you guys to get through. But by the end of it, we want you guys to be able to showcase different ideas in different forms, but also have a real-world solution for a real-world problem that you can present to your project partner as well. And yeah, so this is just a little bit of an overview of what that program structure looks like. And I think I'm going to pause right now to invite Ilyas to tell us a little bit about his experiences during the foundation program.
Cool. Thanks, Diego. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and be allowed to share my experience of going through the foundation phase in design thinking. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ilyas Kombrink, and I'm a D School alumni. I'm currently employed at the University of Cape Town as a learning technology consultant. So if you've interacted with Hula or Amatuba, or perhaps had a stack or puzzle regarding that, and yeah, I basically assist with that. That's my day-to-day job. So Diego has introduced you to the program and told you about what it's about and what it looks like. I'm here to share how the program can benefit you and impact your life positively post D-School and post the foundation phase in design thinking course. So one of during the course, you'll learn a couple of things, and most specifically, the things that I resonated the most were the D-School mindsets. Design thinking teaches you to have empathy, not only for your fellow colleagues, but also for everyone around you. And that's something that really carries through. And once you get it, you get it. And it's something that you can't easily forget. The next thing is collaboration and teamwork. When joining the program, you'll often more than not be placed in a group with people that are unfamiliar to you. So it won't be a group of your peers or something like that. It would be the strangers that you've possibly never even interacted with. So as an example, I joined during my postgraduate year when I was completing my honors in historical studies. My teammates were jazz singers, neuroscientists, preachers, and it was a very diverse group of people. And at first I was a bit shell-shocked because I wondered, like, how are we all going to work together when it seems like we barely have anything in common? There's such a difference between a STEM course and a humanities course, or someone that's studying at the College of Music compared to someone doing engineering. But over the duration of the course, what you really encounter is that you and this group of people, you really bond over this wicked problem that you're trying to solve. And you sort of really become a close-knit, tight group of people, and you become friends, and eventually like you stay in contact long after completing the course, because the program is so intense and it's so demanding, but in the good way where it actively needs you to like be proactive, as well as you need to be creative when trying to come up with solutions to these real world problems. So based on the points that I spoke about now, I'll just speak about how I apply these mindsets in my day-to-day life. I think having empathy for another person, that's something that is often spoken about but not truly understood. In my job, there's a certain number that you call if you have frustrations or queries regarding UCT's learning systems. More often than not, people that choose to call rather than email tend to be a bit more urgent in their queries, whether it's lecturers trying to set up groups for tutorials or tutors unable to access students' assignments. There's usually a sense of urgency, and also it's unpredictable about who's going to be behind that phone and what their problem is. And I'd say that design thinking, my ability to sort of empathize with the scholar immediately, and sort of understand their point of view, why they are frustrated, as well as iteratively problem solve with them, sort of being able to catch myself in the moment, try and figure out what the root cause is, what it is we are truly trying to solve, is the true extent of it, and then working with this individual on sort of trying to figure it out and assist them in best that I possibly can. Design thinking also teaches you about continuous learning and growth. I mean, there'd be over the course of the program, you may think that you have the solution immediately, and you think we found it, it clicks now. This is what we're going to go ahead with. And then when you truly scrutinize and understand, like you go a bit more in depth, you may have to abandon that idea completely. So by being detached and being like, okay, I may have thought that I knew the answer to this, but I don't quite, and I'm still learning and iteratively improving. That promotes growth, and that's something that truly carries over. And I'm not sure what is in the school, but I definitely encourage all postgraduates as well as third years that if you plan on your academic journey is coming to an end, you've gained all that you can from this institution being academic wise, I think that signing up for this program will allow you to get out of your comfort zone. I mean, it allows you saw in the videos and the clips that you truly get to be creative, even if that's something that you sort of lose touch with as you grow up, and as you move to academia, you're sort of trained to write in a certain way, speak in a certain way, and act in a certain way too. And joining the D School sort of allows you to leave all of that outside the doors, and once you enter the auditorium and you visit the classrooms and the spaces, you sort of realize that this is an institution and building like no other. And I definitely encourage you all to not only apply, but when you join, stick through with it, because watching the end process, getting to the end process and presenting to the stakeholders and getting to sort of graduate after the after the duration of the program, you sort of, it's very, very, very wholesome and fulfilling. So yeah, thanks for that. For listening.
All right. So, yes, thank you very much for sharing that. I think the one thing I also wanted to add on to what he's noted there is that for students, especially coming out of your, for students who are especially about to finish their undergrad, this is going to be the one time where you actually get to do a real project with a real project partner. And then you walk out of that with an actual project or portfolio item where you have applied design-led thinking into a real world problem. So why we highlight again that like you work with a real project partner is that like you walk out of there with saying like, hey, here's something that I did for Western Cape Government Libraries whilst I was a student, but like they're applying it in their actual organization right now. And that's something that you can take into your workplace at some point, or maybe that could be the premise on which you get hired by a specific workplace as well. But that specific project that you take away is going to be like the big learning as well, or like the big benefit. But I'm going to continue sharing just about the other programs, which take a very different amount of time. So cool thing about foundation program, we said earlier, is that it's the most in-depth of our programs. But there's also other design thinking learning experiences that we have that are a little bit shorter. And if you don't have the time and can't make the time commitment for the foundation program, we would encourage you to try and consider some of the other programs, such as the Design Thinking Week. So Design Thinking Week is the one that I'd said happens in November, towards the end of the year, after all of your exams, after all of the classes. And yeah, we invite students to come to the D School for a 4-day deep dive into design thinking. And we always just try to make it a little bit more fun. So in this past year, my mission was to get everyone onto the train and get everyone to the beach. I was like, hey, we need to make it a little bit of a fun one. And I just want you guys to have a little quick look at what that looked like in this video over here.
I'm Diego Monareng. Today, I'm the program lead for the DT Week, and the DT Week is a 4-day program hosted at D School. This 4-day program is also a deep enough dive into design thinking, just to understand like all of the basics around the tools. With the Muizenberg Improvement District as our project partners, and we have about 60 students working on about 3 challenges. All the different teams are paired up with a few different challenges, and hopefully we're going to get a lot of cool stuff out of this.
We've been prompted with the challenge, how are we going to help the Muizenberg community, how are we going to integrate trading between formal, informal, and we basically gone through a whole idea process, focusing on the problem, not just jumping to solutions. And each day we've spent time really going through a process of trying to ideate the best ideas possible in a group setting with limited time.
We actually went on a trip to go to Muizenberg, and we traveled via metro so that they can actually experience what it's like as a commuter in Cape Town, moving up and down from that context.
So design thinking is really about tackling issues and challenges in a way that will benefit the user itself. With us coming to Muizenberg, we're getting to get their perspective, so we can keep that in mind when we're trying to implement changes.
On day 1 and day 2 is now like getting user experience, interviewing people from different backgrounds, seeing their different experiences, maybe safety concerns.
We're trying to get a bit of an understanding on the retail experience that the locals over here have, from the formal as well as the informal. There's so much, power that comes with diversity. Diversity, when really approached by it with a lot of empathy and understanding, it really is a superpower, no doubt.
The whole design thinking journey is really about framing and reframing. So we start off by framing the challenge statements, which frames a real world challenge that people experience, but a lot of it is informed by assumption. As we get into the problem space, we try to understand more about the real world problems by speaking to our users. Once we actually speak to our users, we get to reframe our challenge into our users' point of view. We want to do one more round of reframing, moving from how we understand the problem to how we understand the solution should respond to the problem. And that's when we're going to actually create our solutions in the solution space.
So today we had our final presentations for DT Week with our project partner Muizenberg Improvement District. We're excited to have Simon Roberts in the room with us.
I've been pleasantly surprised in terms of the solutions that have been proposed.
Simon helped us scope some of these challenges that the students got to work with. These were real world challenges, and it was exciting to have Simon come back into the space, looking at the team challenges, looking at the team solutions. We are excited to see how MID is going to use some of the solutions or possibly implement some of the amazing ideas that came with our student ideations.
Cool. And that's just a little bit about the Design Thinking Week, a fun one at the end of the year after all of your exams. And yeah, I think this one right now, so that was in November last year, and we still have a couple conversations happening in the background just to hear how they're starting to implement a lot of the solutions that the students have come up with. But as with every program, our project partners are really looking for something that they can implement, and the students are really working on that. And you'll be surprised to find that 4 days is plenty of time for people to make a very robust solution while learning the entire design thinking process. So yeah, if the time is limited on your side and you would want to join in on a program at the D School, but you don't have the time for the foundation program, I think that this is also an amazing option as well. So keep this one in mind for that. Go to the next slide. The third program that I wanted to tell you guys about is the Design Thinking in Africa, which is an online program. And we work with 5 universities across the continent. So the online program is going to be, we work with teams online using tools such as Miro and Zoom to actually, to actually collaborate with like the partnering institutions. So we ask that for this program, we usually ask that students who are registered just at UCT, or like, UCT students who are registered can join. I don't think you need to be towards the end of your postgrad or anything. I'm not too sure if like that's a requirement actually, but yeah. If you would like to be a part of this program, it usually runs between June and July across 2 weeks. And yeah, it runs online. So why it happens between June and July is that it allows us, you need to worry about it clashing with your coursework because it's happening during the VAC, like the midst of like the VAC in between the 2 semesters. And yeah, we want you to come for that. So the universities that we collaborate with are spread out across the continent. So you'd work with people in Cairo, people in Kenya. I think there's 2 universities in Kenya, 1 university in Ghana, 1 in Cairo, and then UCT is the 5th. And yeah, so it's going to be a very interactive online program. And this is kind of what it looks like as well. So we use Miro as our virtual whiteboarding platform, and that gets us to create our actual D-School environment online. And this is what it looks like on the days of our final presentation. So it culminates into a presentation where our students will be working together here on Zoom to share all of their thoughts and their opinions like vocally. And then we're also going to be working here on Miro, our virtual whiteboarding platform, to share all of our thoughts and ideas visually. And we always want to make sure that these ideas are visualized and our thoughts are visualized. And we're also just like sharing our learnings with each other, even in the constraints of working online. So yeah, I think this is a very cool one to do, especially if you have a lot of free time during your VAC. But again, you come out of here with a real project that you would have gained experience through. And then usually I think our project partners are a UN related agency, and we're working on something very topical at the time. So this is kind of what that program looks like. And the last type is a design thinking dash, which we will be running at the D-School tomorrow. But a design thinking dash, a very quick deep dive into design thinking, 3 hours where you get to experience the tools and the mindsets of design thinking. And you get to work on a very quick challenge, and you get to solve something for all of the people in the room. And yeah, for the design thinking dash, it's also just like a nice program to experience. If you want a taster of design thinking, you want to see, is this thing for me? I would encourage you guys to actually just like come through for the design thinking dash. I think I'm going to pause there and welcome any questions from the room, because yeah, we've gone through a lot of slides. You've heard my voice for a very long time, but I would like to welcome any questions from the background. Okay, so I'm just seeing some of the questions in the chats. The foundation program runs twice a year, first semester and the second semester. So that's just like one thing to note. And the D-Camps for this first semester's one is going to be on the 20th of Feb. That's going to be the selection program for the foundation program. There was a hand up from DM. I'm not too sure what the name is, but DM on the screen. Just want to welcome you for your question.
Hello, Diego. Thank you. I was going to ask what time the program is tomorrow, but it's been answered on the chat.
Okay, that's perfect. And again, the links to everything are just available online. You can just sign up on our d.scovery.org website, and you'll find all of the information there. So you can just like visit the website to see all of the relevant dates for each program type. And yeah, just like have a look at that. And then whenever you feel ready to sign up for one of our programs, please just do so. And then we'll get to just see you online, or we'll get to see you here at the D-School anyways. If at any other point you just want to come past the building just to see what it looks like, to see what the vibes are, walk past as well. We're situated on Middle Campus on corner Cross Campus Road. And I think, I'm not too sure what the other road is, but here on the corner of Middle Campus. There was a question about, can you be part of a foundation program and the DT in Africa in June? We encourage our students to try and do at least one of the programs. If there's an extra slot, or if there's like additional space in one of the programs, then you can do both. But the thing is, with the design thinking in Africa, that one's a little bit more that one's a bit more prestigious and a little bit harder to get into because you only have 8 slots. And I think a lot of the participants are competing for those 8 slots. So if a student has completed the foundation program and then they still want to do the design thinking in Africa, we will prioritize a student who hasn't done a design thinking program over somebody who has, because there are very few slots available for that program. But yeah, I think that's just a quick answer for that. And I'm going to welcome 1 or 2 more questions as well before we close off. Cool. Farad, is there anything on your side that you would like to note just before we close?
No, everything's pretty good on my side. Just a reminder, if you are keen or available to attend the Design Thinking Dash, just grab the link that I posted in the chat. We do have a high amount of people that have signed up, but just please sign up so that we can at least account for you. And then at the same time, for those of you that are keen on applying for the foundation program, please do so tomorrow before 3 o'clock, because we will be closing that application. If you're not able to make it into this foundation for semester 1, we do run it again in semester 2, which is in the second half of the year. So there's also that to take into consideration. But other than that, thank you.
Cool. So guys, thank you very much for your time again, and we hope to see you around here at the D School. I'm going to wrap up the meeting. If anyone wants to stay behind for any other questions, you're welcome to stay. But yeah, I think we're just like coming to a close right now. Thanks for your time, guys, and see you around, hopefully. Cheers.